Democrats are still very upset that Donald Trump is enforcing federal immigration law and that he's using the National Guard to do it. And at a recent Senate hearing where this is being discussed, we're going to see Senator Eric Schmitt completely educate Senator Mazie Hirono. But before we begin, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
These deployments are changing how people experience their own capital city and how they view our military. This is not normal. Don't tell me it's normal to have National Guard in, where are the cities? LA, Portland, Chicago, DC, Memphis. Don't tell me this is normal. It is not normal for a president to attack blue cities controlled by Democratic mayors or governors in blue states. This regime has pushed boundaries that prior presidents, Republican and Democrats alike, respected for generations.
The fact of the matter is that the excusing of violence and this unlawful behavior by rioters and folks who seek to do harm against our law enforcement across this country has metastasized. And you don't have to go back into ancient history. You look in the summer of love of 2020, when Democrat mayors and Democrat governors sat idly by while bricks were dropped off when the sun went down and buildings burned. Law enforcement officers were shot, they were spit at. And you know what the Democrat response was? We hear you. Yes, we should defund the police. Now, my friends on the other side, they want to sort of memory hole that, but you could run a tale of the tape about elected Democrats who spouted this nonsense. So when we talk about having local solutions, the fact of the matter is, I was Attorney General at the time, a lot of law enforcement folks, they just left. Police officers took early retirement. So you're not going to just magically create this group of local law enforcement folks to take on violent crime. I think the pendulum is starting to swing back. But I want to talk about sort of two different scenarios. You've got sort of the DC scenario, then you have the LA sort of Portland scenario where Antifa in particular, which has now thankfully been designated not only as a domestic terrorist organization, but a foreign terrorist organization because of their tactics. The fact is, this is a network, decentralized, that has safe houses and financing across the world, including the United States, who wants to do harm to ICE agents. And so what I don't hear a lot from my Democrat colleagues, they might condemn the violence. But what's telling is you don't hear any of them say, stand back and let ICE do their jobs. Because the fact is they just don't actually believe in immigration enforcement. They think that everybody has a right to be here and no one should ever have to go home. Borders don't really matter. And so the villainizing of our law enforcement agents, especially ICE, is really destructive in leading this, which then brings us to today, which is why the National Guard has been deployed in places like Los Angeles and in Oregon. And it's not unprecedented. The most obvious example people will also remember is other Democrats, including the Democrat governor of Arkansas, who didn't want black kids to go to school with white kids. President Eisenhower then not only deployed the National Guard, but sent the 101st Airborne in. So let's not pretend that this is some constitutional crisis. The President of the United States has very clear authority to send them to protect federal buildings and to protect the law enforcement, which is all that's happening. So I want to ask, General, maybe for you or anyone actually, what are some of the tactics that are being used right now by these thugs on the streets, these criminals who are seeking to entice federal agents out with firecrackers or whatever it is so that they can actually take shots at them so they can assault them? Because I think it's important for the American people to understand what's actually happening, the violence that they're being subjected to. I mean, we just saw yesterday a National Guardsman being harassed by some clown on the street for doing his job protecting people. So what are some of the tactics that are being used that are really dangerous for law enforcement right now?
Senator, you just described many of the tactics that were being used when Title X forces were directed into Los Angeles to protect federal activities, to include ICE conduct of their duties. Also in other cities, however, with court orders, our forces have not been on mission there to work in conjunction with the lead agencies like they have in California.
I think you've seen, there's no coincidence here, you've seen 1,000% increase in assaults on ICE officers. So to my Democrat colleagues who want to have this hearing, we got to be honest about what's actually happening out there. This rhetoric is making it open season on law enforcement, and it's incredibly dangerous. So when we villainize ICE agents who have family members, who are husbands, who are mothers, who are simply enforcing the laws that this Congress, or not this Congress, but Congress has passed over the years, this is insane. And the condoning of people blocking off vehicles from, enforcing the law, these ICE agents, this is a powder keg. It's a powder keg. So I'm very thankful for the men and women who are serving this country, who are protecting those agents, who are protecting federal assets. And the president's well within his authority to do it. Thank God we're challenging some of the assumptions that have existed for so long that people, particularly minorities, have to live in these crime-ridden areas forever. It doesn't need to be that way. They don't deserve to have to sweep up glass every Sunday morning or have a loved one that's shot. We don't have to accept that anymore. So thank you for being here.
Eric Schmitt had a complete shutdown of Mazie Hirono's points there, right? Because Mazie is out there saying, don't tell me this is normal, that deploying the National Guard to enforce federal law is normal. Well, okay, it's not normal, but it's definitely not unprecedented, because when was the last time this was done? Against other Democrat governors and mayors who were also refusing to enforce federal law. So as much as Mazie Hirono wants to say that, the National Guard has never been used to target Democrat mayors and governors, well, guess what? Here we are again, repeating the cycle. All of these federal laws have been duly passed by Republicans and Democrats. The only difference now is that the Democrats no longer want to enforce them, okay? And that was another great point brought up by Eric Schmitt. The Democrats are out here excusing violence, excusing rioting, letting the lawless masses in this country apparently just run roughshod over our law enforcement, right? That's what the Democrats have been doing. And while the Democrats may talk a big game and come out and condemn individual violent attacks, they're not out there saying, hey, you know what? Back off. Stop the violent protests. Stop blocking police vehicles. Stop trying to burn down federal buildings. Stop trying to interfere with the arrests of illegal immigrants, all right? Stop all of the crazy protests, right? The Democrats aren't saying any of that because they don't want our federal immigration laws actually being enforced, all right? I've made this point several times on my channel before. There is not one illegal immigrant the Democrats actually want being deported. It doesn't matter how violent they are. It doesn't matter what crimes they've committed. They will fight for every single person who snuck into this country to stay here. And all of this, of course, is the reason why the National Guard had to be called in. But rather than allow ICE agents to do their job, they're being villainized. And now they're being attacked. And of course, in the case of the National Guard, they are being killed by radical leftists. And it makes me wonder why the Democrats won't fight half as hard for the American people as they do for the illegal immigrants. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.